Molly, can you hear me? Nope. There I am. Thank you. Molly had to call me and tell me that you couldn't hear me. I was telling you it was so hot out. I'm going to go to the pool right after this. And that I can't believe why it's taken me so long to get this thing fired up, because I was just on last night from my client call, my Monday Night Live call with all my clients. But I want to talk to you about a deal. I'm going to be coming to you as a salesman next week, because I have a special offer from Crexi, and it's a very, very good offer. My students are taking advantage of it, and I want to make sure I make it available to all of you. And I'm going to be teaching you how to use it and how it works, and then you can sign on up at a massive discount, massive Crexi package discount. Llama Bryant. Bryant is now a family name of mine. My daughter is a Bryant now. All right. So, but here, listen. I need your help. I need everyone's help. I'm going to talk politics. First time using any of these multifamily platforms I've ever used. First time I'm talking politics, and I need your help. I don't care if you're anti-Trump, pro-Trump, whatever. I need your help. I want you to hear what's going on in my family. And this just happened about an hour or so ago. So my sister and I share offices. She has her business. I have my business. And she hates Trump, hates him with a passion. She almost can't believe that I would have anything to do with him. And I like Trump. Between the options that they give us, the binary choices, as Bill Burr, William Barr mentions, we don't have great options. But you know what? Lesser of two evils in my case. And she says, how could you ever vote for that disgusting rapist, pedophile? I'm like, whoa, what are you talking about? What do you mean, what am I talking about? It's all over the news. Don't you watch the news? I'm like, not the news I watch. And Dorothy, give me a little bit of credit. I'm your brother. I mean, I am anti-pedophile. My God, I've been giving money every month to that Operation Underground Rescue until we found out the guy who leads it's a bum. But I have been donating to help kids, and that's on the board of the YMCA. I am adamant. I'm heading up the audit and risk management committee, and I need to make sure that we don't let those types of people into the organization. I am avidly against that. So why would you ever think that I would vote for that guy? And then we started going down the rabbit hole of, oh yeah, well, what about this? Oh yeah, well, what about that? And so let me give you the play-by-play on a couple of these elements. So she calls him a rapist. I said, what are you talking about? She's like, oh, Jeffrey Epstein. He was on the flight. I said, Dorothy, that whole story about him being, 6 times mentioned in the complaint as a cohort of Jeffrey Epstein, that's all been debunked. The documents are out. It's all fluff. No, it isn't. You have no idea. You're just listening to Fox News. I said, no, really, it is. And then I said, well, what about Joe Biden taking showers with his 13-year-old daughter? What are you talking about? That never happened. How could you ever say such a thing? And then I started thinking, holy cow. I mean, this is a woman that we grew up under the same house, and we are seeing so many things. She says, how about January 6th? He caused all those people to die in January 6th. I said, wait a minute. Nancy Pelosi just came out and said she was responsible for January 6th. It's on video. No, it isn't. You have no idea. Oh, my gosh, this is just you talking Fox News. I said, no, it really isn't. I don't really watch Fox. I stopped watching Fox News after the last election because I got sick and tired of all the pissing and moaning. And so I said, I tell you what, I will get support for my argument for those 3 things: January 6th, showering with his daughter, or the Jeffrey Epstein conspiracy. I will get proof on my side for my arguments, third-party proof, and I'll give it to you. And I won't use the right-wing extremists. I'll make sure that it's a very solid source. But you've got to do the same. You've got to provide me with the evidence to support your argument. And that's where I'm saying. So, Molly, can you put my email up on the banner? For those of you out there listening right now, I don't care if you're pro-Trump or you're pro-Biden. The 3 arguments: January 6th, showering with info. Molly didn't put my email down. She put her email down so she can filter it for me. She won't let me see the bad ones. January 6th, sleeping with his daughter, that came out of her diary. And then Jeffrey Epstein, the updates on those things. And give it to me from both sides. If you're a Biden supporter, give me stuff to support you. If you're a Trump supporter, send me stuff to support me or support Trump. Because this is why this country is so screwed up right now. If she is adamant that she is right, and I'm pretty sure I'm right too. And it's all coming from the sources of our news, the news sources. That's bad. That is bad. There is one woman, maybe you have seen her. She's on TikTok. She's a lawyer. She's probably about 30 years old. Beautiful, beautiful woman, lawyer. And she looks like she's got no personality. She just stares at the camera and says, this is the news right down the middle. I don't play either side. And honestly, she's really a good source, because whether you like her or not, she's going to make you mad because she's telling it right down the middle. So, I got to find out who she is. Maybe she's got some of this on her FYP page, and we can figure it all out. Okay, that's the end of it. That's the end of the politics. Now, I talked to you about Crexi, and we're going to lead up to the offer that Crexi is going to make available to me to offer to all of my students and clients and people watching my show. That's going to be coming out next week. But I want to teach you a little bit of how, this is going to be how you analyze a trailing 12 finance. I know we've already done it. I pulled this one off Crexi. And I cleaned it up because it's under a confidentiality agreement. So I didn't want to disclose. I changed some of the numbers. I changed the categories. Hey, G. And I changed the categories. Look at G. G is such a nice, classy lady. I'm glad she missed the start of this presentation because I would not want to offend her in any way. And hopefully I didn't offend anybody in any way. But it's definitely something that I need your help with. All right. So the thing about so this comes in, and I'm going to show you how you can really start analyzing deals right from the comfort of your own home and make offers and what have you. Of course, if you're one of my students, you don't make an offer unless I've reviewed it and made sure it's right. But I'm going to teach you some of the stuff right now. Let me see. Oh, thanks, G. You've got it, G. Let's see. I need to go to here. All right. Now, let me jump back on over to see me over here. Yeah. All right. I'm going to run through the same steps that I always run through. I took this off. Now, the way you look at a trailing 12 financial statement is the first thing is you look at the dates. And as you can see here, this is a true trailing 12. That's great. Now, another thing, this is a little trick that I want you to understand. Another thing is you have to look at the way these things are set up, and it's going to trigger something for you. If you look in the way that the lines, the rows are categorized, you'll see that there's a 4-digit number with every one of the categories. What that tells me is that this system is a legitimate professional property management system that is generating this report. That's a good thing. That means that this property is probably being well managed by a third-party property management company. Bravo for them. But what that also means is these guys can generate any type of report I want to see. All I have to ask. And if you go and ask the broker, hey, can you generate this type of report? I'm looking for a ledger report on this. Oh, no, we don't have that information. Yes, you do. Because you're on a solid third-party property management system, and I need that report. Please generate it for me. It's just a push of a button for these people. Okay, so the first thing you do is you look at the dates. The second thing you look at are the categories on the left. You want to make sure that it says income. You want to make sure that that gets tallied up. Gross total income. They also throw the line in there, gross profit, which is a little weird. But then they've got the expenses, and they've got all the different categories for the expenses. And if we scroll on over here, I'll scroll down. And as you can see, there's a line there for the net operating income. It didn't scroll. Why did that not scroll? Let me go back here. Sharing a window. Okay, so let me just make sure because I can jump back and forth. Yeah, there we go. So if you look at the net operating income right here, 46, line 46, that's the line. Okay. So that is how we determine the value of the property, by taking the income minus the expenses, and you have the net operating income line. Now, when you see the category title called net operating income, you know you're dealing with a third-party property management software report. If it says net ordinary income, you know you're dealing with a QuickBooks report, and it's not a real property management system. See, because net operating income is unique to multifamily or other types of real estate. Net ordinary income is for every other type of business. So when it's net operating income, you're good. you're good. You got a good report. Now, the reason why it's good is because I'll tell you, when I first got in the business, the property management systems that were coming out were one step above QuickBooks. Now they are amazing, and they're getting better, especially when you add in AI. We met Murin.ai the other day, the founder of that. He was on the show. What they're doing now with AI, these property management systems are unbelievable. But the way it works is when a person walks through the door to look at a unit, their journey in the property management system software begins then. And it all from the marketing to that person and keeping in touch with them, emailing them, all the way through to the move out review and return of the security deposit. The property management system touches every single step of the way, and that is a phenomenal thing. So when you got your property and you've got a system, all the systems that you look at should have cloud-based access so that you can go out there and you can be floating in a riverboat down the Danube and looking to see how your property is doing. That's the type of access you want to have. And same with all your partners as well. All right. So we've got the categories on the left, and I'm going to go through them in just a moment. And then we've got then the next thing we're looking at every time on these types of property packages, on these types of reports, is you go back in and you look at trends. So if you look at, I don't know if I highlight this, and I don't know, let me see if I can blow this up a little bit. Let me see if that worked for us. Just see if you can see that a little bit better. I'm going to jump on over, take a look. A little bit. But what you want to do in these cases, like take a look at the income. 14, 14, 13, 12, 11, 11, 12, 12, 13, 13, 15. Okay, so you've got a pretty steady income for this property every month. That's good. The other thing you want to look at is, first off, let's run through the categories. Rental income. Okay. Tenant damage. Now, for those of you that know that are my students, and you know how I teach this, you know my mantras. When I look at a trailing 12, I look at the income categories in two lights. First one is good income, and the second one is bad income. Now, what's the difference between the two? The difference between the two is this. If the income disappears the next month because the tenant performed under the terms of the contract, that's bad income. And I don't want to include it in the valuation of the property. When I'm calculating my NOI, I want to take out the bad income and only look at the good income. Let's take a look at these categories, and I'll tell you whether it's good income or not. Here we go. Rental income. Good income or bad income? Great income. Best income there is. Tenant damage income. Good income, bad income. If the tenant behaves himself and performs under the terms of the contract, will we see that income next month? No. That's not consistent, continuous income. We're going to exclude that line in our categories. Application fee income, good income or bad income? Well, technically, it's not even income, because whenever you have an application fee income, you're always going to have a tenant damage right. Technically, you're going to have a corresponding expense. So the application fee income is really a zero-sum game, except for the fact that when you find out what they charge for an application fee, you can then determine how many applications this property takes in on an annual basis. Let's take a look at application fee income. Well, what do you know? December, How much is the application fee? $75? $25? It's going to be $75. They took an application one in December, paid it back out in January, gave the people their money back, did another one in March. Ooh, boy, they're not marketing this property all that well. I wonder what the occupancy is on this property. Actually, the occupancy on this property is very high. We're not going to get into that today, but I'll tell you that right now. So that tells you that you've got a marketing problem on this property. You're not getting enough applications in the door. Tenant insurance fee, $54. I don't know what that means. I mean, you have the tenants paying some form of income here. Let me jump on over and minimize this a little bit more. All right. Then we've got utility fees. Okay, look at this. We are collecting some form of income from the utilities. There's some type of bill back. Maybe it's a water fee. Maybe it's a sewer fee. Maybe there's some type of a RUB system bill back. Brings in almost $10,000 a year. Liability, that's good income. That's good income, because if the person performs under the terms, you're going to make that money every month. Liability to landlord insurance, bad income. Get rid of it. Don't even know what it is. Late fees, good income or bad income? Okay, now let me tell you something, folks. This property is not being run very well. And I see the late fees very low. Makes me wonder exactly if they're really collecting late fees, if they're charging late fees, if they're performing under the terms of the lease. So that's something I would definitely check out on the due diligence. Lease processing fee. This is almost an application fee. Check this out. Yeah. So it costs $125 to do the lease processing, but then you got the application fee up here of $75. So which is it? They're going to give you two of them? I don't know. We'd have to figure out what that's all about. These are the types of questions you ask in the due diligence. Lease termination fee. Oof. Only $125. Boy, I know some places that whack you. If you're going to break the lease before the end of the term, it's a heck of a lot more than $125. And then, of course, the all-inclusive other income. All right. So that's how we look at these things. We want to understand what the good income looks like and what the bad income looks like. And so that's how we calculate it. As you can see, there's a lot of gaps on this property. It's probably not being run very well. And that is an opportunity for us. But before we can make that determination, you really need to get in there and find out what it's like a day in the life of the property manager is actually like on this property. All right, so now let's take a look at the, now we're going to take a look at the income. Let's see here. I'm in the income, the expenses. Let me jump on up here, scroll it on up. Once again, folks, we're going to look at the categories, and also you'll look at the trends. In this particular case, I'm just going to blow up the categories so everybody can see it. All right. So they've got two different types of payroll. They have management payroll and they've got shared payroll. Now, let me give you a little bit of a clue. This particular property is the owner owns a couple of different properties. So they swap people between the two properties. So that explains the shared payroll. All right. There's the management payroll. Look at this. It's all over the place. Why is the management payroll all over the place? 4,000? Then sometimes it drops down to 800. I'd like to understand what's going on in that payroll. Management fee. I wonder what a percentage is. Let's see. $5,800 divided by 171. 5,800 divided by 171. 3.5% management fee. That seems pretty low. It's not a big property. I think it's about 15 units. That's a low number. I don't believe that's accurate. General admin expense, advertising and marketing, negligible. That explains why there's no application fee income. Oh, there's the insurance fee. Okay, but the thing about that, you see how they pay the insurance? They pay the insurance usually twice a year, it looks like, but this is kind of strange. You'd have to really dig into. Oh, I remember what it said in their notes. They said that the owner has a master policy, so that's why the insurance is not necessarily accurate. You'd have to get a quote from your agent to stick the numbers in there and see how it looks. Legal and professional, sure. Maintenance expenses, they got HVAC, plumbing, and then other maintenance expenses, awfully low. $4,300 for all year. Lawn, landscape. Now we're getting into some of what would be categorized as contract services. Lawn, landscape, supplies expense. Now the utilities, gas and electric. Look at the water and sewer. Consistent, pretty much. You can see the seasonal changes. All right, that looks good. Garbage, bank charges, property taxes. Always understand what happens in that jurisdiction as far as the taxes go when you end up going to the buying the property. Make sure you're not going to get whacked with a new assessment as soon as you take over the property. And here's one other problem. I'm going to show this to everybody. I'm going to ask this question. I'm going to move on, but I want you all to chime in on the quotes. Tell me what the answer is or what you need to look at here. Property taxes, $19,992. One payment per year. Tell me what your issues are with that. Software expense, portfolio expense, miscellaneous taxes and license, unapplied cash expense, all zeros. Total expenses, net operating income. Now, here, this is the number, folks. This is the number that we strive for. All right? We strive for this number. 20,000. Let me see. Tenant insurance fee equals rental insurance, where it's a referral fee income. Maybe that's what it is, Llama. But everybody, tell me what your issue or what your concern would be on this deal based upon what you see on the property tax line. Chime on in. Let me know your thoughts here. Now, the next thing is we look at this property, and folks, we've got the income, we've got the expenses, we've got the NOI. The expenses are running at 88% expense ratio. Bam, llama. Llama, llama, ding dong. Bama, llama, bama, llama, ding dong. You got it. You got it, llama. That's it. Oh, Gary, you're beautiful too, man. I love you. Gary, I live up here in New Hampshire now, not down in Melrose. That was years ago, too. That was years ago, Gary, when I first met you. Tax is a percentage of value. Well, yeah, that's going to be something that you're going to need to figure out, too. But Llama, I agree with Llama. I've never seen one tax payment per year. Every property that I've ever owned, it's been 2 payments per year. Sometimes they're equal. I own property in Michigan. It was drastically off. The summer taxes had the school expenses in it, and the winter taxes didn't. So there was a huge disparity during the course of the year. Excuse me. So that is exactly what I was what concerned me, which means that expense ratio at 88% isn't really 88%. It's worse than that. Oh, we pay the second installment. Madman, or Maryland man, we pay the second installment. So they don't have the money. They didn't have the money to pay it. So it didn't show up on that trailing 12. They didn't get that second payment in because this is actually being reported on a cash basis. So it didn't get paid. If it was being reported on an accrual basis, Now, you accountants are going to know better than I am, but if it's being recorded on an accrual basis, that tax would have been recorded on here as an expense, and it didn't get done. Is that paid in lump sum annually? Would have to verify. Exactly, G. You'd have to verify, but I have not seen it paid lump sum. But here's the deal, folks. This is what you're going to do in this particular case. You're sitting at your house. You have learned how to analyze a trailing 12 because you listened to Charles Dobens, the master, the legend here, and he said, if you get something like this, you don't go any further. You pick up the phone and you call the broker and let him give you their tale of woe. You've got to find out what's wrong with this property. I have the rent roll. I looked at the rent roll. Folks, it had like a 4% vacancy. And of course they say that their rents are below market. Yeah, but man, who owns this property? And what you would do, one of the options here. Now, this is where we can start talking. Remember, when you make an offer, you have to figure out two things. What's my exit strategy and how am I going to get this deal financed? On this particular property, the exit strategy is to value add, turn this property around, make it profitable, and then get out. That would be the exit strategy. The how to get this deal financed, wow, we got a problem here because no bank is going to finance this deal. Exactly, Lynn. And if mom and dad are owning this property and they want out, they're stuck and they don't know what to do. So remember, folks, this is a sales and marketing business. This is a sales and marketing business. The person that solves the customer's problem is the one that makes the sale. And in this particular case, the customer, but listen, seller financing is an option, but I would prefer to go conventional. But how am I going to make it to conventional? Because no one else, if I can't make it a conventional, no one else is going to make it a conventional. How can I help Ma and Pa Kettle sell this property to me and get bank financing? What's the solution? We could do seller financing. We could go out there and figure out that they don't have any debt on the property. That's the only reason why I would do it. But if I did that, if I got seller financing, they're going to still want to see 20 to 30% down. That's 20 to 30% that comes out of my pocket on a property that's operating at about an 88% expense ratio. Oh, that's pretty risky. That is risky. And remember what we do in this business. This is a business. All business involves risk. The most successful business people are the ones that are able to minimize the risk. Our job here is to minimize the risk. Me putting 30% down on a $1.5 million acquisition price, that's $300,000 out of my pocket. $300,000 on a property that's non-performing. And who knows if I can make it perform? I don't know if I want to put up that kind of money for that. So what would you do? Llama, I just said we don't know. We'd have to find out about the existing mortgage. You're saying taking it subject to. There may be no mortgage to take it subject to from. So I'm looking for one solution. We don't. Hold on. I think I have the book. Hold on, everybody, bear with me. Yeah, I did it. Oh, this is by half the property with buyer and seller having for roll on the floor roaring in 5 years. Is that what that means? Is that what that means? Return of Gary, you're using a single family term, I bet, that I'm not privy to. Okay, so this is funny. All right, the answer is that I'm looking for. The answer is, right of first refusal in 5 years. Okay, or Gary, oh, you were so close, Gary. You were so close. Call it something else, Gary. Do you have another term in mind that you could say, right? It's not right of first refusal, but what's the word I'm looking for? 3-year balloon. Well, the problem with a 3-year balloon, see here, all of this stuff requires a down payment. All of this seller financing, the guy's going to want cash. And I can understand that. Okay. Oh, I thought Gary said lease to own, master lease. It's not an assumption, Gary, because we don't know if there's any mortgage, so we don't know if there's anything to assume. Okay, folks. Master lease option was a term I'm looking for. We're going to give him $20,000 for the option fee. We're going to work out the arrangement with the master lease, and we're going to control this property and the thing when you're negotiating for a master lease, the things you're negotiating are time and money. You want to put as least into the deal as possible, and you want to get the term as long as you possibly can. So those are the two things that you're negotiating on a master lease. I want to get control of this property and see if I can turn it around. And if I can't turn it around, I'm giving it back to the guy. And if I can turn it around and it's profitable, I'll exercise the option in 3-5 years, kind of like what Felicia and Gary are talking about, getting that option to buy in the future. Triple net, no, this is not going to be a triple net. You can think about triple net means that you're paying, because you're the master lease, you're paying the taxes, you're paying the expenses, insurance. But here's the thing is, Gary, I don't want to do that. And that's the other thing you need to negotiate in a master lease. You've got to go in there and say, hey, I kind of want to make sure that I don't come out of pocket too much. So we need to have a deal. If there's big capital expenditures, well, that's on you. If, little tiny repairs and maintenance, well, I'll pay that. So all of these types of things is what you're trying to negotiate with the person. Now, what's a good option fee? Yeah, start with 1%, Llama, and watch. Negotiate with a guy. Like I said, you want to go in for the least amount as possible. Phrase I use is "try before I buy." Exactly. That's what we're trying to do here. What was the CapEx? Great question. Great question. What do you want? What do you want it building? What do you mean by that, Gary? Let me go back to the. Let me go back to the screen here. I want to go back to. I think I just click on it. No. Oh, I know what I do. Hold on. Let's see here. I'm going to switch on over. Let me scroll on down here because Lama's asking a very good question. Let's see. So here, remember, folks, you're looking at all these categories that are below the line. The capital expenditure budget would be below the line. This property is running at 88% expense ratio. I bet there's not much money to do any CapEx. Asset management fee, shame on them for even taking it. Amortization, depreciation, CapEx. Here it is. What's the number? $25,000 CapEx. CapEx for turns, $5,000. So you're looking at about $31,000. $31,000 in capital expenditures. So you kind of want to switch that around. At least build that into the number. Now, so just so you know, folks, and I love doing this because this guy's a good guy. There's a book called Creative Cash, The Complete Guide to Master Lease Options and Seller Financing for Investing in Real Estate by Bill Ham, my buddy Bill Ham. Bill Ham was a student of my wife's back when he was learning multifamily. And he sends over this nice little note that I kept in the book. He says, Charles, I wanted to send you a copy of my new book. Hope you enjoy. Tell Kate I said hi. Bill Ham. So Bill was doing master lease options. My wife was teaching him how to do master lease options. And then he writes the book on it. I love that. That is so cool. Good for him. So see where the cost segregation savings are. Oh man, Gary, I'm not even thinking about cost segregation. I'm thinking about how do I keep this property going, because that's the issue is how do we, if I have to go towards the depreciation to make any money on this deal, I'm not interested because, depreciation does not pay the CapEx. So that's the story here, folks. That is, you pick up the phone, you call the broker. Remember, the broker is a customer. I tell you the three customers: investors, sellers, and brokers. The broker is a customer. Your job is to find out what the problem is of the customers and then solve it. And I just gave you the option. I just gave you a couple of options. Actually, really only one as I see it. We can talk about seller financing, but right now at this stage, it's all speculation. By looking at the numbers, I don't want to own this property. By looking at the numbers, the master lease option is my best option because then I get control, but I don't own the property. And then if I can turn the thing around, I can exercise the option and then I own it. So find out what the problem is, solve the problem. That's the name of the game. Oh, Kindle for creative cash version. Good for Bill. I'm selling books for Bill. Books for Bill. I drink this sparkling water. It's yummy. 0 calories. All right. I would love to hear all your politics and your help me in my relationship with my sister. She's a pain in the neck anyway. She's always been a pain in the neck. I'm always a good brother. She would disagree with that, which means it's true. Okay. This went a little long, but hopefully this was good. Hopefully you all enjoyed this. Oh, good. Thanks, G. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm going to try to do on Tuesdays. I'm going to try to do a little bit more teaching, taking a property. Once we get the setup with Crexi, I'm going to get you all lined up with Crexi, and then we'll walk through some deals and give you a better handle on how it works. And then the other thing is, I can't. Molly and I were working out our schedule. I got to miss a couple of I have a Thursday coming up, and then next Tuesday, Thursday. I have to miss like 1 or 2 of those dates. I'm not quite sure. But and I have to, one of those times I have to talk about new news in multifamily. And there's some, bad stuff with Arbor Realty Trust, Arbor Financial. That's, they are in dire straits, and it's so bad that the, hey, Alan, it's so bad that the DOJ and the FBI are now getting involved. That's never a good thing. So let me see, Maryland Man or Madman, how do you assess how much CapEx is too much, too little in a T12? You know something, I'll tell you, Madman, it's a great question. And if you think I did that just now, I was probably just playing with the numbers. You can't, from what you see there, you can't really assess that information. The best way to assess it would be to take that total number of 37,000 and divide it by the number of units. And that gives you an idea of how much CapEx per unit we're spending. All right. The other thing is, without having individual invoices, without having that information, we don't know what that $37,000 was spent on. That could have all been spent on the roof and then nothing else for anything. So you're right. You really can't determine the CapEx from the T12. Usually what you see in a really good property management system, which this one is, there would be another button for CapEx, and then you can go right to the CapEx. It'll tell you exactly what it's for. It'll tell you what months it was spent for. It will tally up down the bottom right-hand corner, and that number will be the exact same number you see on that T12. That's how beautiful the numbers, these reports all work together. So that is really the only way you can assess that information. Great question. Can you finance everything you analyze? Pretty much. Oh, God, no. Oh, Gary, can you get financing for everything? No. Okay, so you get some properties that are dogs. You don't even want to touch it. You know, I always say life is too short to own C-class property. There's some property that you just don't even want to think about financing. That's why when you hear about 100% seller financing, red flag, run for the hills. That's because no bank will cover it. Now, take that one step further in light of what's going on in the marketplace today. And what will happen is the property will be a great performing asset, but you can't get it financed because the seller is still in the mindset that it's 2020, and he wants a set price. He wants the price that he could have got back in 2020, but he didn't want to let go of the property. Now he has to sell, but he wants a 2020 price, but the interest rates say that can't be financed. And that's the key. So we were looking at a property the other day on one of the calls, one of my student calls, and it was a Crexi. We found it off Crexi. It was in his market, a very nice market, very expensive market that this guy works in. And what happened was the guy gave the price, which is a kind of a red flag. Usually they let the market determine the price. He gave the price and he said, "This is the price I want." And he gave the NOI. So this is what I generate off the property. So right away from that NOI and that price, you knew what the cap rate was, right? 3 variables, two of them, you can solve for the third. And the cap rate that this price was being promoted at was a 4 cap, almost a 3.9 cap. And you're like, no. There's no way that you, in today's market, that you can get a 4 cap property with the rates the way they are today. And when you dug down deeper, you found out that the guy did the math for you. And the only way he got the math to math was by having you put down 55%. It was a 45% loan to value. Your down payment was 55%. That's the only way that you could get a mortgage with a debt coverage ratio that qualified. That's not how this works. We're not writing a check to pay cash for these properties. We're using leverage because we're investors. And if the only way you can make your price work is you got to put 55% down, you're asking too much. So Gary, there's another example of how the property couldn't get financed. I mean, it could, but you'd be a fool. Your cash on cash return will be like 1%. So it just doesn't work. So that's the name of the game. All right, folks, I gotta go to the pool. I gotta call it a day. Stay tuned. Keep following me. I got a lot of cool stuff coming up. Fire it up. We're still looking to close the. We still have some openings. If anybody wants to find out more about the Louisville hotel deal, that deal is actually looking better than before. But I'll be more than happy to discuss that with you offline. So just shoot me an email, or Molly, if you want to put into the link here, the cash flow portal, and people can go. Yeah, Lama, I will. The cash flow portal where let me see if I can find it. Molly, let me see. Oh no, she's putting it up. So folks, grab this. If you want to find out about this Louisville deal, that is a phenomenal deal. Boy, I get so much stuff that I could share with you. So we've got tons of stuff coming up over the next couple of weeks. Make sure you keep coming back. Seller's price equals the lie. Exactly. Gee, my students are the best. They know all of my mantras. What's the biggest lie in multifamily? The asking price. Let me see. 1-800-GARY-SON. Yep. Gary, so good to see you, man. So good to see you. I tell you, folks, I've been in this business long enough that I've been seeing Gary probably since I first went to my first RIA Club meeting back in 90. Oh, where was I? No, early 2000s, very early 2000s, up on the North Shore of Boston. Yep, good. All right, Jay Rutterful. Gosh, these names. All right, great to see everybody, and we will talk later. Everybody have a great night.